Today I would like to talk to you about making yourself some lovely linen or cotton or even polyester works as well, napkins. Okay, so these are mitred, as you can see, perfectly mitred in the edge, and that takes a bit of practice. However, I've come up with a little theory of interest, and this came about. I've done all sorts of things in the past, but because I have a very fancy dinner party coming up soon, and I wanted to make some nice white linens to go with it. Now some of you might recognize the White Star logo here, and I embroidered all these by hand on my treadle, although I have recently acquired an electronic machine as well, which should make this a little easier. However, the result of this is that with a bit of attractive decoration, we're not demonstrating this very easily because I should have rolled it better, you can have yourself some beautiful mitred napkins. Now, how do you go about doing this? Well, the important thing is I have a little sample of fabric. You have to choose your seam width. Now, what's really important here is that I decided I wanted a 1.5 centimeter or 5/8 inch seam around it, folded edge. So what I did is, you would have to do this as well. Make sure it's perfectly cut, not like this where it's not perfectly cut. And then you'll press it 3 centimeters there, and then once you've got your crease, you will then fold it in on itself and press it again and fold it like that. And you will ultimately end up with the seam that you're going to want. Okay? So it will look like that. You then do that same procedure around the entire napkin. Can you press it? Okay. But you should press it with an iron, obviously, because you want a perfect result. But I'm just demonstrating what happens. Now what you will notice, let me just grab a pen here, and this ruler. What you will notice out of this is that you end up with these lines. So I'm not sure if you can see those terribly well, but where you've ironed, you end up with the 3 centimeter line, and the 1.5 centimeter, or the 5/8, and the 1.25. Same difference. Okay. You end up, oops, that didn't work very well. But anyways, yours would be perfect, of course. And this is where it gets a little bit of fun. So what I did is I created myself a little template to help me understand what's happening and exactly what happens. Ultimately, what you have to do is you fold those lines so that they fold and land exactly on each other. And if you mark them in erasable, this is actually a Waterman pen. Well, the ink is Waterman, and it washes out very easily, but you can use anything you want. You can feel free to mark them. But what I found is this works really, really easily. You need to fold those lines together and make sure it's 90 degrees to yourself. And then what you've got is this little guide which you line up exactly on the lines. Okay? So this tells you where those seams could be. And when you get to the point where you've matched up the edge, the fold, and the corner, that's your 45-degree line that you need to sew on. So if you actually mark it like that, you end up with that perfect mark. That's the secret. So when you sew, you would sew between this fold and that fold. And that's the important bit. That's where you sew. And then you can clip it like that. So that goes away. And you've magically got your mitre. You sew it, and then what happens is when you turn it inside out, you end up with this perfect, remember it's right sides together, you end up with this perfect mitre on the outside, and your corner is perfect. And that's all you have to do to miter the corner. So I just like this little template. All it is, for those who want to do that, I did this on my Silhouette Cameo. You've got your 3, your 4.5, and then your 6. So then you just fold it. You fold it again to make your 45 degrees. And that's how you can do that. So you don't even, if you want to make your life easier, you can actually just line it up like that. And fold it like that as well. And that's where you're sewing together on those two lines. But I find it easier to actually fold it like I'm going to sew it. So that's how I do mitered napkins.